chicken salad Oriental. Tossed fresh all day, new chicken salad Oriental with tender chunks of chicken, fresh green peppers, and chow mein noodles.
Fresh new taste you can take any place. Good time, what a great taste. Of McDonald's.
New chicken salad Oriental.
Hey there, it's me, your TV. You know, without cable TV and HBO, you're only getting half my picture. And right now, cable and HBO are a real bargain because you get free installation when you call 1-800-TV-CABLE, a savings of up to $37. And for about $15 a month, basic cable is America's best entertainment value. You get sports, music, news, movies, performing arts, and kids channels you can't get on regular TV. Plus, the HBO and Cinemax Fall Super Season features smash movies like Stand By Me and The Color Purple. All-star concerts like Billy Joel. Sports specials like Mike Tyson versus Tyrell Biggs and Max Headroom. So if you live in suburban Philadelphia, New Jersey, or the Wilmington area, call 1-800-TV-CABLE for free installation. Get the whole picture. Call 1-800-TV-CABLE or your local cable company now. And now I return you to your regular programming.
There is a place that knows exactly what you need in every way, in every single brand. And every aisle is filled with promises we keep. It's bringing you the very best we can. You can take for granted our dependability. Thriftway knows what you want.
What's coming up?
This is the Painted Bride Art Center organization. With the help of Boston's Underground Railway Theater, Painted Bride has created a series of puppets and banners. People's Parade, Constitution Day. And there's some little people along the way, checking out, looking for their particular group. They are basically doing the same thing we're doing, looking for a particular group to help us along the way. The
Right
spirit of...
Dave, what you're looking at here, with the help of Boston's Underground Railway Theater, the Painted Bride has created a series of puppets and banners. You may recognize the large figure puppet of Harriet Tubman there. Will be carried, as well as figures of Guatemalan peasants. There's also a banner there of the Mother Bethel AME Church, the first stop of the Underground Railroad in Philadelphia. Quite a history lesson there.
One of the many history lessons I can recall from grammar school, the dramatic story of the Underground Railroad. And that is represented here today by the Painted Bride Art Center. Each group, ethnic in origin, having its own particular statement. That statement sometimes dealing with a social issue, sometimes not. But each one here being able to freely assemble with an organization and march in a parade such as this in a country where such things are free. And that is the beauty of it. Let it continue for another 100 years plus.
Lawnside, the city of Lawnside, New Jersey played a significant role in the Underground Railroad in this area, Dave. What does that say? Nosotros el pueblo. Is that pretty good?
That's very good. And now the translation.
Help me out. We the people.
That didn't take long to figure that one out, did it? But followed by the Girl Scouts, if I'm not... There they are. Yes, I recognize those uniforms anywhere. Without their cookies today. But they're there. 83 Girl Scouts in the greater Philadelphia area marching in the uniforms. Replicas of the original uniforms, as well as the new uniforms. 75th birthday of the Girl Scouts of America. They're marching, and they're chanting something. Nice to have the Girl Scouts with us.
And behind the Girl Scouts, the Institute of Security and Technology. It's a private training academy for corporate and executive security and law enforcement officers, Dave. Is at the Upper Darby Academy. It also has additional academies in Pittsburgh and also in Miami, Florida. 50 of the 500 students attending the academy will be, or I should say are, marching in uniform today. The Institute of Security and Technology. Major Philip Cease in charge here. At the headquarters right here in our area in Upper Darby.
And now the Ukrainian Congress Committee, represented in the parade by a dance ensemble. One of the dancers performing now, marching in the traditional Ukrainian dress. Little performance, brings some applause from the people, displaying their heritage. Made up of members of the Ukrainian American groups. The group was formed in January this year. Immigrants and those of Ukrainian descent. Most Ukrainians came to, I've always wanted to be able to do that, or that, or any of that. Colorful part of their heritage displayed here on Constitution Day. About 50,000 Ukrainians in Philadelphia and about 100,000 right here in the Delaware Valley. All of them committed to the liberation of the Ukraine from the Soviet Union. That is their political statement. Pennsylvania Institute of CPAs. Lisa, these are the accountants.
All right. Looks like another briefcase drill team here.
I don't know if Don Pollock is in this group or not. He was in it the other night when he did his piece. Is he in there someplace? Maybe they didn't let him march in the parade on Constitution Day.
I wouldn't be surprised.
All our accountants and CPAs.
50 of them, Dave, in blue suits, white shirts, red ties. All carrying their briefcases.
Hey, I like our group.
The president of the Philadelphia chapter, by the way, is Thomas Keyes.
Pennsylvania Institute of CPAs. I want to be a CPA. You got to do it my way.
What a chant, huh? Behind our certified public accountants, the Knights of Columbus. Leading off the profile group. I shouldn't say that. It's the pro-life group.
Right. There they are.
Between 50, 67 members here.
Pro-Life Coalition.
Right.
In Southeast Pennsylvania.
The Knights of Columbus is the Philadelphia chapter, Valley Forge, and Trinity chapters.
Well, what's happening now, the CPAs are acting up.
Right.
And right in front of that, Ronnie, the CPAs are kind of acting up, putting on a little demonstration. They had their umbrellas out. Now they're putting them back.
That's the big cheer.
Now they're moving out again. All right, they did a little number for us there.
So much going on here. We've just had a release of balloons right behind. There they are.
Right.
The crowd is enjoying this. Release of scores of colorful balloons.
That's the pro-life group, the Knights of Columbus, the pro-life coalition.
They're based in Jenkintown, Dave.
Chester County, PA is pro-life.
Their organization symbol, by the way, is a red rose sticker, which you might notice on their breast pockets. Pro-Life Council, also a part of this group.
As they make their statement on Constitution Day.
The Sierra Club following our pro-life group. We'll be seeing them a little... There they are.
There's the Sierra Club. Yeah.
Right.
Environmental awareness, represented by 20 men and women dressed in green and white colonial-type costumes, pulling a missile.
9 feet long.
Express their concerns over clean water, alternatives to nuclear power, and the arms race. Leading the marches, local chairperson Randall Brubaker, Esquire, and the local chairperson, Phyllis Gilbert. The Sierra Club banner.
And following that group, Dave, the United American Indians. 100 Native Americans representing tribes from North Carolina, from Philadelphia, Baltimore, Bridgeton, New Jersey, Maryland. They're marching in their native dress today.
As well, they should be represented. They were here long before we arrived on these shores.
That certainly
they are
is
the
right.
true Native Americans.
So to take this back to one of our honorary grand marshals, Peter McDonald.
Right.
He's a Navajo Indian.
Exactly, Lisa. Natticoke, Lenni Lenape Indians of New Jersey. Everybody's just thoroughly enjoying themselves, marching along at a casual pace, having a good time, and expressing their particular point of view and being free to do it in our society. That's the way it works in this country. Thank God for that. Another statement. Freeze the arms race.
A little controversy here. The theme of no Contra or war aid to Central America. It's representing the pledge, the Philadelphia Pledge of Resistance. I think this group, oh, look at their little picture of Ronnie there, a little,
I just didn't know.
yeah, I think that's got to be Ronnie. I just didn't
President
know.
of the United
That's
States.
my idea.
President of the United States in our city today for the Constitution, and people expressing their views contrary to his.
And that's all part of the Constitution as
That's
well,
right.
freedom of speech.
That's why it works, and has worked so well for 200 years. And we can sit here and watch all of this and have everybody express themselves. Then the Constitution goes to work and try to iron everything out and make it a living process.
Some of the marchers here, the Central Committee of Conscientious Objectors. There are 50 of them there, expressing their views on this Constitution Day.
We the people. Metro Community Church.
The Metro Community Church of Philadelphia, Metro Community Church of Philadelphia is a 75-member gay and lesbian congregation, Dave. There are 32 members marching behind this banner today. The community towards a gay bicentennial. 30 people of the gay and lesbian communities are marching, carrying their We the People flags, and it continues, and there is more to come, and we will be back in just a minute.
My life was a drag because my job was a drag. Until I went to Wilfred Beauty Academy. Wilfred taught me hairstyling and makeup too.
It's a beautiful life when you love what you do. When you love what you do. It's a beautiful life.
Wilfred showed me and even helped me find a job near home. So, if your life's a drag, change it.
Call Wilfred Beauty Academy, Philadelphia, 625-0600, Trenton, 989-8666.
There's a thought that says it is indeed fortunate to have one's cup runneth over. Fortunate, unless your cup runneth over onto your silk blouse, your fine linen tablecloth, your wool slabs, whatever. wherever, which is precisely why we make Scotch Guard Fabric Protector. It keeps ordinary spills from becoming extraordinary stains on virtually any fabric. Use Scotch Guard Fabric Protector and let your cup runneth over.
Worldwide sponsor, 1988 Olympic Games.
Citrus Hill Select's big new 96-ounce jug. It sure got a whole lot to love.
Citrus Hill Select gets its freshness from the heart and puts it in a jug, but that's only where we start. It's resealable and shakeable and doesn't make a mess. Your family's gonna love it 'cause it helps the juice stay fresh. Shake, twist, peel, pour. Our big 96-ounce jug, fresh, so much more than more.
I have no doubt.
We challenged Michael and Jackson. Of these piles of cottons, each done in a different liquid fabric softener, which was done in hers?
They all feel soft, but this is my fabric softener because it's very bright and very white. I was right! It's final touch. I like my white to be really bright and light and pure, like snow.
Only Final Touch gives you a soft, whiter wash.
Softness plus whiter and brighter clothes.
Constitution Day People's Parade continues. They have a little pause there as the bus goes by. The Daughters of the American Revolution. DAR was formed in 1890 when women were denied entry into the Sons of the American Revolution. Members must be 18 years of age or older, descended from a man or a woman who aided in revolutionary efforts. There are currently some 208,000 members in the United States, England, France, Mexico, Australia, Canada. They work for historic preservation, patriotic endeavors, and of course the promotion of education. We've got about 100 members out there today making their statement, the Daughters of the American Revolution. Each along the way on this parade route, we pause from time to time to make a dramatic statement or sing a song or do some chanting, in addition to the normal breaks along the way because of weather, because of transportation problems with buses and cars having to get across routes. So it has really been a very well-controlled parade, but loose and informal.
Waiting patiently behind members of the DAR are models across America. We can get I don't know if we can get close enough yet, but they are waiting patiently.
We're completely backed up at this point.
Right, we're moving
back
ahead.
to your screen, all the way down 15th Street, all the way up to Arch, and then the turn on Arch, trying to get up to the Parkway. Everything has come to a complete standstill. So we've reversed the trend of a little bit earlier where we'd have huge gaps in our parade. Now we have a backup. Those folks that travel to Schuylkill know that feeling. So we're waiting.
Crowds here in the color, Dave.
We're waiting for, I'll tell you what, while we're waiting to get the groups back online and get them moving again, we'll take a little commercial break. People's Parade, Constitution Day. We're live in Center City.
We were being strangled by our debts. We couldn't sleep. Our work suffered. We'd heard about bankruptcy, but didn't know much about it.
By the time the Brills came to Jacoby and Myers, they were being harassed by their creditors, their wages were attached, and their home was in foreclosure. We stopped all that.
We figured our creditors were using lawyers to protect their rights. Why shouldn't we?
The Brills just needed a chance to get a fresh start.
Jacoby and Myers, when it's time to call a lawyer about a bankruptcy.
When you've got a new puppy, you go to the veterinarian for advice. And when Alpo set out to make their puppy food, they went there too. They asked veterinarians what they wanted in a puppy food. And the result is Alpo puppy food. With the high-quality protein and easy digestibility veterinarians told us puppies need. And the taste puppies love. Alpo puppy food in bags and cans. Veterinarians helped Alpo make it, and puppies approved.
I like
painting.
My kids are talented stain makers.
Yuck.
So I need the power of all, the stain lifter.
Wow! A-L-L?
Yeah. All goes right to the stain and just lifts it away. For my little stain makers,
Greasy.
I get the stain lifter.
Wow. A-L-L. And A-L-L in a bottle.
All in powder and liquid. They're the stain lifters.
You'll get it. Do it one more time.
I got it. Fever. We got it too. Fever.
Fever?
We got the fever for the flavor of a Pringles. Fever. It's that deep fried taste. Fever. It's that crispy crunch. Fever.
Wow, now I've got it.
Fever. We got the fever for the flavor of a Pringles.
Fever!
We're going to switch venues right now and go to the Franklin Plaza Hotel, where, as you can see, Senator John Heinz at the podium. He is introducing President Ronald Reagan to his fundraising crowd at the Franklin Plaza Hotel.
Third, the District Attorney of Philadelphia, Ron Castile. Ron?
Mark Howard. He's introducing the local dignitaries before getting to President Reagan, introducing Republican Ron Castile.
Not to repeat a related mistake when I introduced Senator Specter while he was in the back of the room, I want to introduce City Council person Joan Specter. Joan.
Jim, it's Mark Howard here in the back of the room where
Yes,
the
Mark.
senator was. He's introducing some of the dignitaries here, and this was a hastily put together affair, but it will raise $500,000 for the senator's re-election next year and for the party.
Truly privileged I am to do what I do, and that is to represent the people of Pennsylvania in the United States Senate. Last time I was in Philadelphia for an event marking the Constitution's Bicentennial back on July 16th. Some of you may recollect I was recovering from a knee operation. I was on crutches due to an old skiing injury. You know, skiing is a little like politics. You spend a lot of time hurtling downhill towards disaster. The president feels, I think, that the political slopes are a lot more slippery since the Democrats took control of Congress. But I must say it has not deterred him. He has kept not only his balance, but his momentum by continuing to deliver on his promises and commitments to the American people. And I predict that when he crosses that finish line, ladies and gentlemen, he will set the world's record for promises kept. I really do believe that the true measure of any public official is how well we keep those promises, and I can't help but reflect that in both my Senate campaigns I ran on the theme of getting results by listening to people who elected me, and I won't claim that that is some kind of revolutionary notion, but it's sometimes forgotten where I work in Washington, D.C. I have worked to get results, and we've gotten some results on a number of issues vital to Pennsylvania: trade, health care, keeping taxes and spending down, and strengthening in America at home and abroad. But, you know, the more we get done, the more we realize how much more we need to do for our unemployed, a job, for the young, a good education, for our seniors, security, for minorities, a chance, for every Pennsylvanian and American, opportunity and freedom, peace, and prosperity. My friends, our nation is great because it is good. It is strong because it is free. And as long as we maintain our commitment to a better America and the hard-won freedoms commemorated by today's celebrations, I believe we will meet the challenges of today and tomorrow, and we will overcome. In 1980, presidential candidate Ronald Reagan asked the now famous question, Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? And since I guess Jimmy Carter was president, the answer to that question was fairly obvious. In 1984, President Reagan asked that same question again, and the American people responded with an overwhelming answer. But I think the third time will really be the charm. For 1988, President Reagan will ask the question, campaigning for our party's nominee, are you better off now than you were 8 years ago? And I predict the answer to that question will sweep another Republican into the White House. Now, I can't reveal who the next president will be, but I will give you a 99% certain tip. His last name has exactly 4 letters in it. In 1987, we can look at Ronald Reagan's accomplishments with a real sense of awe. But, ladies and gentlemen, the remarkable thing about our president is that his accomplishments stand the test of time. The Reagan legacy will look even brighter 2 years hence. If you just think back to the recession year of 1982, Democrats joked about the Reagan economic accomplishments. They said that waiting for Reaganomics to work is like leaving the airport lights on for Amelia Earhart to land. Well, the Democrats aren't laughing anymore, since Ronald Reagan has brought us the second longest economic expansion in American history. In 1984, Democrats attacked the president's strong commitment to our national defense. Today, maybe very possibly literally today, that commitment to defense appears likely to bring about a major arms control agreement with the Soviet Union. And I know in 2 more years, we'll all look back again at the whole record of Ronald Reagan, and we'll applaud the man who made America proud again. Ladies and gentlemen, let's applaud him right now. Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank all of you, and Senators Heinz, Specter, and Congressman Coughlin, John Cardinal Kroll, Earl Baker, and all of you. I came to Pennsylvania to be a part of the celebration of the 200th anniversary of the Constitution of the United States. I can't think of a member of the United States Senate who has fought harder to put the ideals of our Constitution into practice than the man we honor today, Senator John Heinz. Pennsylvania can be proud of its 2 senators, and believe me, I'm grateful for the job they're doing. There's a story, you knew I'd have one of these, about a fella who always wanted to work with animals, and he applied at the zoo. And they had an ad out for, they needed someone there. And then he found out to his dismay that the job they had immediately open was dressing in a gorilla outfit, taking the place of the gorilla who just died, and until a new one could be delivered. And then they promised that he'd have a regular job at the zoo once that took place. Well, he put on the suit and he got in the cage, and he got a little bored sitting around, so particularly when the children were there, he began doing tricks and showing off for them. And Finally got so interested in that, he got carried away one day. He was swinging on a rope, and he swung so far that he landed in the lion's cage that was next door. And the lion came roaring at him. And he started screaming for help. Somebody get me out of here, get me out of here. And the lion jumped on him and says, shut up or you'll get us both fired. Now, this story is not to suggest that John's been working in a zoo, although at times Washington does look a little that way. John was first elected to the Senate in 1976, and since 1981 he's been a part of a team that has held the special interests at bay, brought taxing and spending under control, and put America's house, economic house, back in order. I think we Republicans can be proud of what we've accomplished, and we couldn't have done it without energetic and responsible senators like John Heinz and Arlen Specter. Believe me, having worked with these two, I can fully appreciate that saying about having a friend in Pennsylvania. Together we took on one of the toughest jobs in the world, cleaning up after the other party had been in total control of the United States government. They'd held a majority in both houses of Congress almost continuously since the 1930s. And in the last 4 years of the 1970s, they had also captured control of the White House and every federal department and agency. Our country ended up with double-digit inflation, economic stagnation, sky-high interest rates, and unprecedented national pessimism. These maladies, which brought such suffering to our people, as much as liberal Democrats would like us to believe otherwise, were not the result of a natural disaster, a plague, or even the celestial influence of Halley's Comet. The mess we found ourselves in was a result of bad policies, of haywire liberalism. And let us reaffirm today that whoever is the Republican presidential nominee in 1988, our candidate will be a darn sight better than any one of the pack that is vying for the other party's nomination. If you listen to what they're saying, they want to take us back to the failed policies of the past. Well, with responsible policies, we revived our nation's economic vitality, and just as John has told you, put the country back on its feet. And as he also told you, our people have enjoyed 57 months of growth. We are, if we can make it all the way to Thanksgiving, on our way to achieving the longest period of peacetime growth in the country's history. Employment is at an all-time high, and since the recovery began, our economy has created 13.6 million new jobs. And poverty, which started increasing in 1979, has begun to decline. Prime interest rates, which were beating the life out of our economy at 21% when we got in Washington, are now under 9%. Inflation, which was public enemy number one in 1980, has been put in a cage and kept under control. Together, we pulled America back from the edge of an economic catastrophe. Having done that, we moved forward to tackle some of the severe problems that were crying out for responsible action. High on the list was reform of our Social Security system. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Senator Heinz for the terrific job that he did as a leading player on the National Commission on Social Security Reform. He helped rescue that system from bankruptcy. Even though the one-time Speaker of the House denied it was true when we said it, we would have been bankrupt in that particular.
We've obviously temporarily lost our transmission signal from the Franklin Plaza Hotel. We're going to try to get it back to you as quickly as we can, but right now I suppose we should take a break, and we'll continue our We the People convention. Well, we got it back. All right, we're going right back to the Franklin Plaza Hotel. We told you it'd be temporary, and it was, faster than we thought. Here's President Reagan.
And as one of those, thank you. John was also instrumental in eliminating the mandatory retirement age of 70, and you can bet I'm happy about that. He also was a driving force behind reforms that protect our citizens' private pension coverage. I might add here that a side benefit of a strong growing economy is an expanding stock market. By creating the conditions in which our stock market has flourished, we've been part of a process that has dramatically strengthened the pension funds of the American worker. And the same is true for the endowments of many of our institutions of higher learning, which have also been major beneficiaries of the expanding stock market. There's no way the federal government could have contributed so much to America's retirees or to higher education through government grants and spending programs. This just goes to show you the program that will do more good for more people is a strong, growing economy, and that's a platform all Republicans can stand upon. In the last 6.5 years, we've proven to the American people that it is the Republican Party that best represents their interests. Instead of trying to curry favor from the special interests that have flocked to the nation's capital, Republicans like John Heinz are out meeting and talking with the citizenry, the taxpayers, the working men and women to whom America owes its greatness. I understand that John has had more than 350 town hall meetings across the width and breadth of this state since being elected to the Senate. Our greatest challenge is to make certain that the people hear our message so they can look at the facts and decide for themselves which direction America should go. In these next 15 months, public support and party unity will be essential, and there's much left to do. Confirming Bob Bork on the Supreme Court, accomplishing real credible budget reform, seeing to our national security, and supporting those who struggle for freedom. As we can see by the high-pitched opposition to Judge Bork, our job is not going to be easy. But let me remind you, since coming to Washington 6.5 years ago, our critics have been proven wrong time and time again. In the case of Judge Bork, the American people, I'm certain, are finding him to be intelligent, prudent, firm believer in the Constitution, and a strong defender of individual rights. I predict he will be confirmed by the Senate, and over his career in the Supreme Court, he will make great contributions to the American way of life. And let me suggest that Americans have every reason to be confident about the future. We have been at the helm during a pivotal moment in our history. First, we had to take care of the problems we inherited. Then we put America on the path that is carrying her into the 21st century, and we're well on our way. Less than a decade ago, one could hear gloomy predictions about how bad things were going to be. Our young people were being told to lower their expectations. Do you remember that? It was even being said that America's best days were behind her. Well, we've proven the pessimist wrong. We've unleashed an entrepreneurial surge that is changing the face of American enterprise. High technology and computers are being put to work throughout our economy, increasing the efficiency of business, large and small. Productivity has been in the increase, and government, business, and labor are working together as never before. We aren't telling young people to lower their expectations. We're challenging them to set their sights high. That's why they're flocking to our banner as never before. They aren't looking for the easy way out or interested in promises of what government will do for them. They're interested in opportunity and in being free to build the kind of lives they want to build to accomplish things for themselves. Yes, there's every reason to be proud of what we've achieved and to be optimistic about the future. And if we can get our message to the people, and I know we will, I have 3 predictions. The next president of the United States will be a Republican. Senator Heinz will be reelected. and the GOP will recapture control of the United States Senate. I would just like to interject here. We couldn't have accomplished, even with all your help, and it was your help that did it, what was accomplished in these last several years, had we not, for 6 of those years, had that majority, slight as it was, in the Senate. How many of us are conscious of the fact that in my administration, we've had one House for 6 years. Now, for 2 years, they'll have both houses, and for 8 years, they've had the House of Representatives. But from 1931 through 1980, the Democrats controlled both houses of the Congress for 46 of those 50 years. And Republican presidents, up until my term, only one had a Republican Congress for a mere 2 years out of his 8 in office. The Democrats' presidents only had a Republican Congress for 2 out of those 50 years. The rest of the time, they had the whole show. So that meant that for a half a century, they've been in charge of redistricting, reapportionment. We're going to have to fight awfully hard to break the gerrymandering that's been going on for half a century. I was sitting here a little while ago and mentioning that in 1984, I've been told that 500,000 more people voted for Republican congressional candidates than voted for Democratic candidates. But they elected about 40 more representatives in the House than we did. I was governor when California reapportioned, and I can tell you that I think the only good district they left us was somewhere south of the border. But just remember those 3 predictions here and determine that you're going to make them come true. I want to thank each and every one of you for what you're doing to make them come true. And I'm going to thank you in advance for sending this man back to the United States Senate, where he is so desperately needed. It wouldn't make any sense at all to send a senator back there of the other party who would then cancel out the vote of Senator Specter. So keep it the way it is. Thank you all, and God bless you.
President Reagan finishing his speech on behalf of John Heinz. And 200 years ago, the framers of the Constitution were also hard-nosed politicians. Yes, they were philosophers and statesmen, but they were politicians too. So it is not inappropriate, in my view, that